Hi, this is Mr. Cordes, and this is the overview video for the Grammar Bootcamp assignment. I'm sitting here and I'm actually looking at the calendar for our class and realizing that this assignment is going to take us about 2.5, almost 3 weeks to piece together. And it's going to be done in small chunks. So you don't have to worry about finishing this in one afternoon, one weekend. We are going to progressively work on this assignment for the next couple of weeks. And the assignments that we do in class and during our live sessions will help build this assignment to its completion. So we are going to take, before getting into our first novel, we are going to take some time to go over grammar. We need to review the basic components. I know that in the past weeks we did like parts of speech and some like sentence structure stuff and just like basic grammar. Now we need to move into, hey, we really need to know what's going on for writing. Syntax, sentence structure. We need to look at punctuation. We need to look at the different components of the parts of speech. We kind of really need to begin to unpack all this so we have a general knowledge. I'm not expecting you to memorize this stuff or be able to recite it off the top of your head. Really, the grammar bootcamp assignment is just to familiarize ourselves enough that we have knowledge going into upper division type writing. Again, for this course, as a sophomore, you need to be ready for the junior level of writing. And so part of that is making sure that you have good control and usage of grammar, of punctuation, of syntax. So we're going to work on that over the next couple weeks. Do not be overwhelmed. We're going to compile this in small chunks as we go, but I wanted to go through the assignment for you. You have two documents that have been attached to this assignment. One is this document right here. The other one is this grammar handbook. It comes up as a PDF. You will notice that there are different parts to it. Part 1 says parts of speech overview. If you scroll on down, you got part 2, count and non-count nouns. It's a basic grammar book that offers a general introduction to the concepts that we need to know. Okay. So for this, first thing that you are going to do is you are going to read the entire book thoroughly. Okay. Take 15, 20 minutes, set a timer, and go through this text and begin to see, oh yeah, I recognize that. Oh, appositives, I'm not sure what that is. Look through the examples. Okay, I think I've seen that before. I want you to scroll through, not speed through, scan, scroll through, go through, read the book, and begin to identify, oh yeah, points to remember. Okay, all right, cool. Prepositions, I have a hard time with that. And you begin to take a look. I want you to familiarize yourselves with the text itself, okay? So that's the very first part of this project, is that you'll read the book entirely. The second part is you will take notes, which should include context, recap, and summary of the information to show comprehension, as well as adding additional examples for the entire book. Now, that may seem like a lot. Oh my goodness, we have a grammar handbook and we have to take notes on the entire thing. Here's what I'm going to have you guys do. If you notice this part right here, it says at least one page for each part of the book. And there are 15 pages total. Or excuse me, there's 15 sections. So if you scroll down on this document, you will notice that this is the breakdown of the different parts, 15 parts, okay? If you were to take one part and do notes on that one part one day, which shouldn't take you longer than 20, 30 minutes, you will have this entirely completed before it is due. So let's say that I'm going to start all my notes. I've got my Google Doc up. I've set up my grid so that I can begin to write about parts of speech overview. I give you an example here of what this looks like. So for parts of speech overview, I'm going to go to my text. I'm going to read the part. Let me go back to the top here. I'm going to read the part about this. Okay, so it talks about nouns. It talks about pronouns. It offers me some examples. It's got a cool little grid here. I think that would be important. And what I'm going to do is on my Word doc, I'm going to create a general idea of this is what goes on for parts of speech. Overview part 1. So as I go through this, I'm going to jot down the information. I'm going to make sure that I've got what is the contents. So what is a noun? A recap, okay, kind of offering, hey, these are proper nouns. They should be capitalized. Offering a summary of information showing comprehension. So based upon this, I should know what a noun is, okay? I'm going to go through all of part one. Okay, there's articles, there's adjective, there's verbs, there are adverbs, there's conjunctions. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And then they go prepositions. Cool. So on my first page of notes, I'm going to get that information down. Am I going to get every single little tiny detail? No. I am going to find out what's important for me to know for that section and then write that. So you are looking at compiling 15 pages of notes, one for each section. Okay. And again, that may seem like a lot, but if you break that down, that's approximately 20 to 30 minutes for each one of these. And if you do one a day, you will finish by the time that this project is due. Okay. So looking here, you're going to go through the breakdown. That's your second task. First task is to read through the entire novel. Second task is to take notes on the entire book, 1 page of notes per section. Okay. And this is the format that you can do. You got the heading off to this side. You begin to write your notes on this side, offering examples. Number 3 is 1-minute challenges. Okay. Create 3 1-minute challenges, activities based upon your specific grammar element. Develop your own unique activity that applies knowledge to your grammar rule and skill. Each activity must be on its own paper, provided with an answer key. Now, what this looks like, ladies and gentlemen, are little kind of tasks and review items for the subject that you are going to be assigned. So during a live session, I will get a list of everyone in class and I will give you a particular section that you are responsible for. Okay. Now, for the notes, every student is taking notes on every section. You will have 15 pages of notes, 1 per section. However, you will also be in charge of one particular section for these other assignments. So this right here, a 1-minute challenge, that's where you kind of create a worksheet or an activity that would help review that skill. So let's say you are given, let's see, down here, part 11. Okay, you got assigned part 11. So you have to come up with 3 1-minute challenges. Think of it like this, three worksheets that deal with sentence types and punctuation patterns. So maybe you offer 3 or 4 sentences that have commas and students have to cross off the commas. Maybe you do sentence types. So you write like a compound sentence, you write a fragment, you write a run-on, and you have students try to identify what those sentences are. Okay. I'm actually going to give you some examples of 1-minute challenges. They're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be creative. But by doing 1-minute challenges, they kind of help refresh your brain and you become the master of that subject. You become the teacher, the professor of what that particular section is. So let's say the day I hand out the list, you are in charge of part 5. What is the difference between adjectives and adverbs? So maybe on your 1-minute challenge, you offer a paragraph from a story and you have students box the adjectives or circle the adverbs. That's their 1-minute challenge. Okay. So you will create 3 1-minute challenges for the particular section that you are given. Okay. The next one, for your particular section that you will be given and assigned, you will create a visual interpretation or representation of this information. So this would be something that you put together metaphorically to offer a different perspective on looking at your grammar item. So you will have, says students will inform, teach, and clarify a particular section of the text. We're not going to worry about teaching to the class since we are virtual. You are simply going to have that visual or that image. Now, that means you have to think metaphorically. You can't think literal. Think metaphorically. So you're going to represent it in a visual. And what you'll do is you can draw it on the computer itself. You could draw it on paper and then scan it into your document. This entire thing is going to be one document. And what's going to happen is you will then provide a 1-paragraph explanation of what that looks like. So let's say that you are given parallel structure. Okay. Part 9, you've been assigned part 9, you have parallel structure. Well, you think, well, what's parallel? Maybe math. And you begin to draw out a math equation and then write a paragraph of explanation how things that have to be parallel, just like in sentence structure, like subjects and verbs have to be parallel with each other in order for them to work, just like in math. Maybe you draw a train because a train track has to be parallel to next to each other. And so you draw a train, and maybe each of the cars on the train is like a different part of the sentence, and you begin to write that explanation. A couple years ago, I had a student draw. He was really into music. He was in a band. He drew a drum set because he played the drums, and each drum set was specific for, which one was it? Irrational verbs. Participles, right there, part 6. And so he identified how each part of the participles was a part of the collective drum set. So each one was different, but they played a significant role. And so he wrote that explanation. I had a water polo player. He identified making subjects and verbs agree. So he drew out this water polo scene, and he talked about how it's important for his teammates to agree on the strategies that they use during a game. And then he related it to how sentences must do that between their subjects and their verbs. Okay. You are, for your visual representation, creating something unique, fun, different, abstract that helps you comprehend the idea of grammar. Okay. One time there was a section on spelling. This girl drew a bowl of alphabet soup. She wrote off to the side that there's lots of letters. They have to go in a certain order phonetically. And she began to explain all these components to it. It showed her comprehension of what her particular section was about. Okay. So visual representation, 1-minute challenges, notes for every single section. And so at this point, you're looking at 15, 16, 17, 18, and your picture would be 19. So on one Word document, so far you've got 19 pages, okay? And you just add to it on a daily basis. The very last item that you're going to do is a quick reference guide for MLA. We need to understand, how do we cite our resources properly? This isn't necessarily in the grammar handbook, but I'm going to have another activity that accompanies this and goes along with this, which will come up here looking at the calendar, I think next week or in a couple days. But the MLA guide will help you as a reference point for when you are citing your sources. So let's say that you were reading through a novel, you read an article, you need to be able to cite that properly. Okay, I'll have an additional lesson on MLA Quick Guide, but for this, you would be putting together what is the proper citation for a book, a website, a journal article, a book with just an editor, or a book with multiple authors. What does it look like to cite a YouTube channel? How do we cite a YouTube channel? So we're going to piece all those things together. I'll have another activity and kind of guide you through that, another video as well that will offer, hey, this is a great website to go to. Hey, you can find your information there. Really, we're just compiling this so we have something tangible. So looking at this, I know it's overwhelming, but we're going to take it in small chunks. First, read through your grammar handbook, okay? Go through it, identify the sections. Hey, I don't know what appositives are. So go ahead and start reading to make sure that you understand what an appositive is. Okay. Go through the grammar handbook. Go ahead and read that so you understand what those components are. Next, you're going to be taking notes, at least 1 page of notes per part of the book. So that means 15 pages. Okay. From there, you'll do 3-minute challenges. So 15, 16, 17, 18, you'll make 3 1-minute challenge exercises. Think of them like grammar worksheets. Maybe that's a better way to say it. You'll do a visual representation. So I'm at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then your quick guide will be 20. So when I open up your document, once you've submitted it at the end of the next couple weeks, I will see 20 pages, 1 part of, in your notes. I will see your 3-minute challenges, your 3 1-minute challenges. I will see your visual representation, and then I'll see your MLA quick guide. Okay. I know that's a lot. What I'd like you to do is to take a moment and review the video, write down any questions that you may have. I'll answer them during our live sessions. Or you can email me your questions, but I would suggest waiting for the live, and then more people can hear and understand what's going on. But at this point, I would take a moment to start reading through the text, start taking notes on each section, and get going on the assignment. Okay. Talk to you guys soon.